Greetings everyone, I'm Force Nature and I welcome you to another session of the Beginner Guide for Dead or Alive 6. Alright, this session is at a special request of one of my patrons, who will remain nameless. Alright, in this session, I'm going to say straight up, it might be considered kind of a bit more kind of a basic session. This one I'm literally just going to be looking at the practice mode and basically just explaining what it's all about. While training in general, you're generally going to be using the training stage right here, which is called the Chamber of Potential. It's basically just looks like a big box with a bunch of lines in it. The reason why it's recommended to use this stage is because it's basically a box with a bunch of lines in it. Essentially, it just looks boring and bland as all hell. So what that means is that you're going to be a lot less distracted when training in this stage. So it's recommended to use this stage when you're basically just learning your character, and once you kind of like know your ins and outs of your character and you're very comfortable with it, then you can move on to like other stages like Chinese Festival or like Road Rage or other busted stages there are where you can end up practicing environmental stuff in them. Alright, particularly if you're just starting out, when you go into the training stage, when you go into training or whatever, the first thing I want you to do is press the start button. Alright, it starts on training settings. I want you to scroll down now to controls. And right here, I want you to set your controls. Set something that's comfortable. So, I mean, recommended, you're going to need a special button, a punch button, a kick button, a hold button, and anything from throw, P+K, H+K, H+P+K, or taunt, or whatever. Any of these ones these ones here are all a macro. Alright, and technically the S button is a macro too. So if you're playing on fight stick, all you need is a punch, kick, and hold button. Everything else can be a combination. The S button is basically the same as H+P+K. The throw button is H+P. So yeah. And also with the controls, you can have, for your convenience, thank you Team Ninja, you can have up to 3 buttons as the same one. Like right now, I usually have 2 hold buttons. If I want, I can have 3 hold buttons. But I'm fine with just 2. One as a shoulder and one as a face button is best. Like you can have 2 throw buttons or whatever. And if you so desire, you can have a taunt button too. If you want to be like a huge jerk, you can have like 3 taunt buttons. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe you just like to show off or stuff like that. But hey, if you got that new Ninja DLC, you basically need to taunt in order to change to go into like gold form, which is actually pretty sick. So yeah, you'd want a taunt button there, because the only other way to change would be with the break blow. Okay, so you have your controls set, good. Because having good controls is very important for being able to progress positively or productively in Dead or Alive 6. Alright, once you have your controls set, scroll down 1, I want you to go to Fight Screen Info. Alright, for this one now, I want you to turn it on. Right now it's set to off. You can either do free training only, which is probably going to be the most common, or you can do all modes, which I don't think it actually shows on every mode, but generally you're going to be mostly using it in free training. You use the left side for your left side character, so the character that's on the 1P side. If you want to check their data and frame data, you set it to them. If you want to check the opponent that you brought into in training mode, you can set it to the right. Under most circumstances, you're going to be checking your character, but if you're wanting to do matchup knowledge, you want to check the other character, then you can put it on the right. Fight messages pertain to all those signs that you see on like the left side, on the right side, to tell you like high counter, critical stun. It's very important to leave this on, because something like a high counter throw, you cannot tell if it's a high counter throw until you see the damage at the end, because the throw animation looks the same. For a high counter strike, you can kind of tell because you get a different hit effect, but for like a high counter throw or a high counter defensive hold, you cannot tell. Or a high counter offensive hold. So yeah, leave these on. I mean, in Dead or Alive, compared to most Street Fighters, you actually need that info. Alright, did I put this on? Yes, I did. And right now, this is basically this huge detailed box that basically ends up spoiling you compared to other fighting games. I mean, just so much good stuff it teaches here. Right now, I'll say the most important things out of here will be frame, which is like lets you know like how fast the move is. Advantage is really important, and obviously like the bottom things let you know if something's tracking or not, but the top 2 are the most important, along with like damage and to a lesser extent combo damage. Alright, if you're just training the character from the top, then what I want you to know right now is what's your character's fastest jab, your P. What's your character's fastest elbow, usually your 6P, forward punch. Right now, so the jab was 10 frames, the elbow is 12 frames. What's your fastest low punch? So this is used mostly to relieve pressure, or just as a low chip damage poke against an opponent. So right here, for Momoji, it's 12 frames. Alright, so let's see, what's your fastest kick now? Your K, 12 frames for Momoji, gives her +6 advantage. What's your fastest knee? Alright, it's 16 frames. I'll just let you know right now, under most circumstances, your fastest knee is not going to be 16. It's going to be either like 13 or 14. So let's say fastest mid kick. For Momoji, it's 3K down forward kick. It's 14 frames. Alright, let's see. Does the character have like a 7k like DP move? Momoji does. It's 12 frames. Does 38 damage. Leaves her at plus 25. If the opponent were to block it, she'd be like super negative. I mean, yeah. Alright, if you're playing with a PS4 controller or even an Xbox, if you hold down the touchpad and press down, you can set the opponent to block. If you press in the touchpad and press up, you can strike them. If you're using any other controller, the touchpad acts like the select button. So treat it like the select button, basically. I go over the skill info move detail box in a lot more depth in my move details guide in the advanced series, so I'm only basically going over it really briefly right now. Most of the stuff here is important. The break gauge stuff isn't as important. The biggest thing about the break gauge is it lets you know how much meter you build up with each hit. Like a jab built it up +3, a kick does +7, a 7k, well, it does +13, and I got +3 for knock him into the wall. Your S always built it up by +15, so that's actually, so that's a little neat thing, but of course it's the stuff near the top is the most important. Alright, if you push in the right stick, or R3, you can scroll now. I'm on page 2. So this one now is basically just, most of it, the most important stuff here is the distance stuff. Right now the distance from your opponent, you see it's changing as I move back and forth, and the reach of your moves. Like that kind of stuff is also important. And right now, the height just pertains to how high you launch the opponent there. You see, like 6.6 PP launches the opponent higher than, let's say, 2.14 P, for instance, well, on normal hit. Mainly because 6.6 PP is a 2-hit string where the first hit mildly stuns the opponent, for instance. And of course, if you stun the opponent, you can get a larger launch height. So the second hit ends up being the same as this if this were to hit after stunning someone. Alright, half hit just pertains to like hitting someone around the tip. Close hit is for moves that have a close hit property and it tells you the distance. And ground strike is just if you're able to kick someone on the ground or punch them, whatever. Knockback, of course, is just knocking someone back. Alright, now for page 3 is all just advanced stuff. Honestly, when you're training, you're not really going to be focusing on this so much because it's quite advanced. The first one now is follow-up interval, which is pretty important. What this lets you know is from what frame you can start to delay something. So this move is 12 frames. So from frame 14, I can delay it all the way up to frame 24 here. It's really hard to actually do that. I got up to frame 23, as you see on the right side, which is pretty good. Critical interval, like I went over this kind of stuff. Like that's just really like kind of advanced stuff. Like knowing when someone is able to like perform a hold and stuff. Switch in frame, like it just lets you know like it takes like 4 frames to crouch or stand or stuff like that. There's sidestep, evade, switch frame. I won't bother like going over that stuff. Like you kind of like get the idea. So lots of stuff for you to check with their move details. In most games, if you're lucky, you just get frame data, frame advantages, and damage and combo damage. So lots of stuff. I'll even just let you know right now about the one in the middle called critical damage. That's how much moves you can do to someone. If you exceed that number, the opponent will automatically get launched or knocked over, for instance. Alright, to help you out with training mode, you can look at the view of the full command list for each character. The first one now just shows you like standard strikes. They call it unique strikes, but it's basically your standard strike strings. You can look at like back-facing strikes, attacks from Yuzakazi, Momoji's single jump stance, attacks from Amakaki, Momoji's double jump stance. You have your throws. Dead or Alive 6 basically has more throws than probably like any other fighting game, so you can see all of the inputs right here. You have all your holds. Single direction holds are standard holds, and 2 direction holds are expert holds. You have your ground attacks, so every character usually has at least 2. So for Momoji, it's a down punch, and everyone has like an up P+K, like your jump in special one. Alright, right here is just the break system. So you have a fatal rush, sidestep attack, break blow, and break hold. So these are the 4 based meter the bottom 3 are meter-based attacks, and the last one, well, kind of builds meter and causes the fatal stun. So your S moves. And here's just any additional special moves. Like for Momoji, it's their 7P, which is like kind of her jump-in stance thingy, which creates space. And then it sees here she has 2 taunts with AP and forward AP. So yeah, so you can just use this to look. So having the command list at your disposal is pretty nice. It would be cool though if you could turn it on while you're like going through your moves, but then you could technically do the command training to go through your character's move list formally. Right now we're going to be taking a look at training settings. Training settings basically could also be called dummy settings. This is basically telling it's a combination of training settings, but it's mostly kind of telling the dummy how to react. Alright, the first one is actions. This one basically tells the dummy like what to do. Let's say if I want the dummy to do high punches, then they just do that like repeatedly. This is good for, let's say, practicing holds or something like that, or if you want to try and practice like with punishment or something like that, or attacking the opponent's hitbox, so you can use it for that. So that's mainly what this one's for, to set the stance. The other one now is reaction. This is the opponent reacting to your attack. So when you do something, then the opponent attacks. If I'm doing it, like let's say the opponent's high jab or something like that, you can use it to do, I guess, to practice like high crushing. For instance, if you set it to opponent to do a high attack, like I'll just let you know right now, Momoji's 8P, her up punch, is a high crush. So right here, you can just end up just launching the opponent or something like that. So reactions is basically if you want to test dealing with some sort of retaliation or reaction move from your opponent. Other stuff you can kind of set the opponent to do is you can set them to crouch, so they just crouch. You can have them stand back turn. You can have them like crouch back turn. And I'll just let you know right now that Ayane crouch and back turn does not necessarily disadvantage her, which is actually kind of neat. You seem to see Ayane do this little spin, which is actually kind of cool. So I mean, that I guess if you want to like see any throws from like behind or something like that, you can end up like doing that. I'll let you know opponents are not going to be like crouch back turn very often, but it is cool to have these options. I just use stand forward most times to let you know. It's the other things you can guard all, standing guard, crouching guard. I think I might have told you something interesting, that if the opponents do a standing guard, let me try. I'll just let you know, if you want to reset the screen, press the touchpad plus H+K. So the H+K button and it resets stuff for you. Alright, I set the opponent to guard, right? Yes. Alright, if you hit someone that's doing a standing guard with a low, your move only does 80% damage. So a 5 damage move will do 4 damage, a 10 damage move will do 8 damage, and if you have an unblockable, then it will do 80% damage too. So that's a pretty neat thing. That's a pretty neat thing to know. So for guarding, under most circumstances, just do guard all. So remember, touchpad plus down. See, now you have guard all for both of them. I just set it for both. If you want to set it, let's say normal, and like guard all. So generally, what you want to do is, all right, let me check. Let me just set it properly. There we go. So when you do this, you hit the opponent the second time, then they guard. So for instance, if you put the opponent in any sort of situation where they cannot guard, like let's say after a big stun, if you're too slow, then yeah, then they'll be able to block, for instance. So if you want to test if someone can block right after certain, like hitting them, like with stunning them or putting them in some sort of like, alright, well, let's say for instance with like Ayane, let's say I can get a guaranteed hit after that, for instance, but if I was too slow, then the opponent would be able to block it for instance. So essentially being able to test certain situations where the opponent can block something, then you can end up doing that, because if you set reaction to block, they will block at the earliest convenience. I don't know. Alright, let's see some other stuff that you can set the opponent to do. You can keep them to do nothing. You can have them guard. Already showed you can do different strikes. Sidestepping, so you can have them sidestep back and forth. So like for instance, if I have them do this, you can test out your tracking moves. As you see, sidesteps are not completely invincible to linear strikes, but under most circumstances it will whiff. But like, if you like do it like maybe right at the end of their recovery, then you might be able to hit them. But as you see, well, I actually think they buffed the sidestep recovery too, which is good. But yeah, Obviously if the opponent were to do like a sidestep attack, which I think you can actually set them to do, like so. I mean, you could practice doing that. This one's mainly for practicing. Let's say you want to do throw punishment on a sidestep attack, so you can have the opponent do that. I just set this back to my favorite, just normal. All right, so other things now, defensive holds. This one is just simply if you would just want to get used to the animation and just you could practice doing your. Let's say you want to practice your 12-frame throw against holds, then you can do that. But this one, I find it's a bit better if you set it to another thing here called critical hold. Let's say set it to just normal, and you can do the same on high hold. This one is, the critical hold is a hold and stun. Right there. Like, that's what you want to be able to react to, is a hold during stun. So the critical hold one is very useful. So like critical hold right here, calm critical hold. Then you just set it to any hold you want. Like even like break hold, for instance, which the opponent's generally going to use because it would beat out any strike. So then you can practice punishing it with your 12-frame throw. If you're too afraid that you may be too slow, then it's okay to just do a 7-frame throw, because those are faster and are more likely to hit and they have good range. So yeah, you can practice with that. I'll just go back to this one now. Just check things, defensive holds. This one now is to practice the opponent throwing you. Oh no. Now the opponent's. Well, I set it to normal, so now they're doing the hold. So now you could use the normal one to just practice throw breaks. For this one is better to set it to for throws. Yeah, set it to a reaction. Now this can test to see if something's like unsafe. For instance, if I set the opponent to guard. See, the opponent, I cannot mash out of this. Let's see if I could mash in any way. Nope. Forward kick is completely unsafe. Momoji's 1 PP is unsafe, so you can have the opponent check check your safety. So right here, so guard all, stand and throw 1 will be 6T. Stand and throw 1 is neutral throw. Stand and throw 2 and 3 can change. Stand and throw 3 is usually the 12-frame throw. And stand and throw 2 is sometimes 12-frame throw, sometimes 10-frame throw, so it can vary. And then there's the 2 crouch and throws, the 5-frame throw, the 7-frame throw. So that's really cool. It used to be just stand and throws, the breakable throw. But yeah, that is pretty neat. Moving along, alright, now looking at other dummy settings, you could choose calm level. So now you can choose the kind of, let's say for instance, to spar with the AI. Let's say if I were to set it to like level 8 for instance, and now you can just spar with the AI and like do stuff right now as I get my ass kicked by the AI. But yeah, you kind of like get the idea, and I only stopped throwing. Alright, so right there, so if you want, you could take your dummy into there, and now you can formally kind of just practice him while the AI does relatively like random stuff. But right now, you have other options now. Player controlled means if you have a training partner, then you both could practice in there. You just set their controller, set it to like player controlled like that, and now the other controller would be able to. Well, the second player would be able to control the dummy character. All right, now with calm recording with this one. You can record up to 3 different scripts and then choose replay. Alright, so now there's 3 right here. I'll just let you know, to be able to record normally, press the touchpad in and press directional left. Right now I'm recording. When you're controlling the dummy, you're recording. So now I'm just having Ayane just kind of move around. Now press touchpad, then press up. Now that's normal. Now press touchpad and press right. Now the dummy's moving, so now we're just kind of like dancing. So that's pretty neat. So right now you see it's on replay. Calm record and replay. So what you do is I have something recorded to number 1. You can record something to number 2. Record it to number 3. And then when you're ready, you have replay. Now you see right here, record number 1 is shown. And you guys also have the ability to display like recorded information. See right here, it just shows how far along the recording is. If you just want to practice certain situations with the opponent, I find that kind of distracting, so you can just turn it off. And now it will look a bit more like natural, for instance. The best part about recording, of course, is being able to practice defending against opponent moves that are a pain in the ass to you. So let me just practice, let's say Ayane's 66KK4. Alright, right there, let me just set it again because I kind of took too long, so let's just record, then just hold guard so she turns around again. Then you can just set replay. Then as you can see, you can duck the second hit. And you can always go under it. So just smash out a high crush as soon as like you see an Ayane end up like doing that move. For instance, so right there you can just practice just dealing with whatever the opponent is. Let me just do it formally then. There we go. So you can practice dealing with whatever the opponent characters is like giving you trouble. Take him into the lab, record the move with the record function right here. You can set up. All right, almost finished. Just a few more things to go over right now. So right now, escaping throws simply means if you try and do a neutral throw or a combo throw, I don't know if Momoji really has any combo throws. I mean, that are breakable. Like Mila has breakable throws, for instance. That's what it's for. It's just testing different throw breaks. So that's escaping throws. Calm recovery are tech rolls. The opponent can tech roll backwards, for instance, if I knock him down. Oh, jeez, I still left this on, didn't I? Critical holds off. So tech roll back. Tech roll sideways. If you're practicing in a corner at the wall, sideways will be a common one, and you can just do random. So they can get up on the spot, not tech roll back, or tech roll to the side. So different various ones. See right there, side tech roll. Having the with the training set, having the calm recovery to like random backward side. This one is good to see if you're able to hit the opponents like right at the, like these are tech rolls. The main reason why the opponents get a tech roll is because they want to avoid getting hit on the ground. So if you're training with like a grappler character like Tina, like Bass, Miller, whatever, or to have like ground throws, even like Neo Tengu, Bayman. I mean, I know there's probably some others. It's always good to kind of practice with tech rolls to let you know when the opponents can tech roll your setup and to see if you're like at frame advantage or not. Anyways, that is it for now. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. So that means leaving a very lovely comment down below. You can also contact Force Nature on freestepdodge.com. And be sure to check out my other guides, both beginners, other beginner guides, my advanced series guides, and my other character guides to get a nice overview and look at this beautiful game that is Dead or Alive 6. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to join Top Tier Fighters. Support does help, and I do appreciate it. And I do thank all my patrons for their support. Anyways, this is Force Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time on Top Tier Tips.